We're looking at number 3. Number 3 says we have a parallelogram, RSTU, has vertices shown below. And it's going to go under a few transformations. I'm going to move this just a little bit. Alright. So it is reflected over the x-axis and then translated according to the rule xy, x plus 2, y minus 1. Alright. Let's take a look at this. We're taking the EOC. When you're working on the EOC, you're not going to be able to write on this figure. That's a big part of the EOC is it's geometry where you really need to draw on the figure, but you're not able to. So they want us to reflect over the x-axis. So that's the first thing we're going to do. I'm going to highlight what we're doing. Even though I can't work on it, we need to visualize what we're working with. So we're not going to waste our time with graphing, especially if this is an EOC time test, because we have only so much time. But the best thing we could do is kind of get a mental image of what we're doing. So the first thing we're going to do is that's our x-axis. So we're reflecting over that first. So EOC, math in general, the perfect thing is to keep ourselves organized. So let's start with all of our points. We're given it right there. So let's write that right there, R. We're going to do each one individually. So let's start with R. So R is at -3, -2. So that's the original. That's the pre-image. And it's saying it's going to be reflected over the x-axis. So what we're going to do is that means it's going to, one second. So R, -3, -2, what's going to happen here is it's going to go over the x-axis. So what's going to change is the y value. So it's going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. So now R prime, the new image, is going to be at -3, 2. Because when we reflect, it becomes a positive number. Next, after reflecting over, we get x plus 2, y minus 1. So what we're going to do is plug these numbers into the x, and then we'll plug, what's another color I have? Is that the broken one? It is. Then we'll plug the 2 into the y. So what we're going to do here is first we're going to plug the -3 into that, so we get -3 plus 2, comma, and then we'll have 2 minus 1, so -3 plus 2 would become -1, and then 2 minus 1 becomes 1. So our first point, R, will be -1, 1. And we're going to do this again, but with a little more haste, with S, T, and U. So our next one is S. S is at -1, 4. So we have S prime. So if we're reflecting over the x-axis, it's going to change the y value. So -1 is going to stay. So it becomes -1, -4. We're going to do the same thing as we did before. We're going to be plugging this value into the y, x value, and then we're going to change this into the y. So we have -1 plus 2, comma, -4 plus, or minus 1. So that means our new value, R, or S prime, or double prime, would be at 1, comma, -5. Alright, now let's move to T. T is located at 3, 3. The first thing you want us to do is reflect over the y-axis, so that affects our t, or our y value. So it's at 3, 3, so then it becomes let me just put these right here so I have that focused. So t prime would be at 3, -3, because now it's below. Okay. Next, we need to plug these numbers into that formula. So for t prime, we're going to be using it into the formula, which would be 3 plus 2, comma, 3 minus 1. So for our second transformation, which is only considering it 1, but I'm going to say it's 2, we get 5, 2, -3, oops, not negative. See, good, we checked. So t double prime, let's make sure we use that, will be at 5, -4. So it would be 5, -4. And last but not least, we're at u. U is located at 1, -3. That means u prime, I'm going to jump over that line again, it's at 3, so 1's going to be at +3. So we're at 1, +3. And then we're going to use this formula as we've been using. So we get from this one, for our new equation, putting it in, we get 1 plus 2, comma, 3 minus 1. That means u double prime after the reflection. Then the translation, we get 3, comma, 2. Alright, that's our answer for this one. Sorry for the interruptions. That's the gist of it. And remember, we could use an image like this, but we don't want to be too reliant since we can't write on it.